Oh, hey there. I got to thinking of, the previous video I had made in regards to female referees and linesmen. I still think that would be good for the sport and also for entertainment value and giving women a bit more fair of a share in, the hockey world. Except I've considered other things. I thought about it a bit more since then. And the NHL is a money-making machine. And the problem with money-making machines is they're, how to put it gently, filled with people who are assholes. They're unpleasant to deal with, and, they're constantly barking orders at you, or pulling tricks, or genuinely being unpleasant. And the thing is, women are not immune to this psychological problem when it comes to money. In fact, in a lot of ways they're worse, in different ways of course, but like you take for example guy like Connor McDavid. Signs a huge contract. He happens to be the guy I got put on this jersey. There will be women who are interested in him, and I'm using him as an example. It's the same for any dude in the NHL. It's actually almost an advantage to be unattractive male, to be honest with you. In any place where there's significant money to be made. The problem is women can be bitches. They can be absolute bitches because they go in with the mentality, well, they're after some dude, and if they don't get him, then it didn't matter that they were doing bitchy things and just overall being unpleasant. But if they do get them, they work on the mentality that they'll make it up to them. And then other women start fighting and they start making justification for why, they're choosing to be bitchy. Why they do things, because there's a lot of things women can do that are really, really bitchy. And it's like, like I've said in other I said it in another video, but I haven't uploaded that one. I believe women should have, in relationships, they should have equal, say in conversations and, have real input. But they can't have total input or total control because there's too many ways they can be bitches. And I mean, the only reason they're capable of that is because of sex. It's the only reason. There are a lot of men that help them out. Without men helping women be bitches, they couldn't do it. And, I'm not the type of guy who's like bros before hoes, but, you do have to take into consideration that bitchy women shouldn't be rewarded for their bitchy actions. I think that's more than fair to say, and this is, it's like if male hockey players, if they're bastards, why should they be rewarded for being bastards? They should be, rewarded because they're good at what they do, not because they're bastards or women or bitches or whatever. That's not the reason why they should be rewarded. And that's looking into hockey, and a lot of people, they don't see it for themselves, so they don't know about it. But I'm getting glimpses of it in my little cult of personality where there's no money and there's no women and hardly anyone to talk to. But that's okay. That'll all change at some point. The thing is, women have certain social advantages that aren't that don't involve sex. A woman, when she really wants to pursue a male, they can, you know, cry a river, they can throw tantrums, they can do this, that, and the other, and it's considered normal in society, and it's not frowned upon. I mean, with men, admittedly so, like, that it doesn't sway me one bit. If there's a dude who wants a chick and he's gonna throw a temper tantrum over it and, you know, that sort of thing, it's just like, what a douche. I'm not behaving like that. No, I'm not a crawler. That's not what's happening. I'm not saying I know any hockey players that are. However, you know, there are people out there. I did talk a lot about, you know, the Lady Gaga pop scene and that sort of stuff. And there are a lot of, you know, creepy looking men there, and they most certainly can't get into the NHL. And they actually, as a whole, are a source of you know, what's that word I hate? Feminism, that's it. I hate that word. It's not that I don't think women should have equal rights and all this, that, and the other. It's, I don't like all the bad stuff that is associated with it. That's what I don't like. And if last I checked, I was allowed to have an opinion. So, you know, I don't like feminism. I don't like it. I'm not a feminist. I think they should have equal rights and, you know, as much say as men, but I don't think they should be allowed to run around doing the bitchy things that they do. And, you know, maybe we could live in a society where people aren't assholes and they're not bitches and they're not this and they're not that. Perhaps one day we could. Greed is a very, very disgusting thing. And unfortunately, you know, the NHL is riddled with it. Ugh, and I don't even want to think about basketball or American football. Ugh, that makes me cringe. Gross. Yeah, very gross. Yeah, well, it's definitely, you know, something that, you know, that's a difficult pill to swallow, that's for sure. And the thing is, certain men, you know, they can be put in a situation where it's like really bad news all the time, and it's like, that's not right. I mean, you know, being a nice guy, you try to be, and, you know, things don't exactly work out, and, you know, people get more aggressive and belligerent and all those sort of things, and women are not, you know, they're not exempt from that. And the thing is, I wouldn't really want to be going with any chick that, you know, had a serious physical advantage over me for that reason, because, you know, if you're saying no to, you know, commitment type stuff to them and they keep pushing the issue and they start getting mad about it, and the social conditions, you know, like there's, you know, you're stuck with them for the time being anyway, you know, that kind of sex is, you know, not good. It becomes really unpleasant and, you know, takes the, you know, the good parts out of it, really. It becomes a, you know, a mundane sort of thing where it's like, you know, I'm not feeling it. And, you know, I know this has got to be a problem hockey players face, and, you know, Connor McDavid, he could be, you know, having that kind of trouble. I said, like, look, $100 million, it sounds great, but, you know, there's a lot to it. It's not simply, you gotta, you know, work out at the gym, you gotta go on the ice and score goals. It's not that simple. There's a lot more to it. And, yeah, getting back to female referees and linesmen, it's like, because there's a women's union in the NHL, They're not on the ice, obviously, but there is one because NHL players are not homosexuals. The thing is, we don't know how bitchy they've been. Why should we reward them? And let them become referees and linesmen if they have been bitchy and they keep digging up the past like archaeologists and things like that. That could be a possibility. I think it's a probability, actually. But if we could forget about all that bullshit and think what would actually be better, I think the the transition from female referees and linesmen, and the men sort of take a lesser and lesser role, sheerly for the entertainment value. As I said, no ugly chicks, and I don't like them to be too muscular either, actually. That's very rare to see in a woman, so I walk the streets, I work in public, I rarely see, women that are that physically fit that I'm actually intimidated by them. But those kind of women, they do make the rounds in places, so, creepy. That's something I most certainly wouldn't put up with, and I don't think it's fair. Even little subjects, like, I brought it up because I hadn't heard about it, the transition to have chick women, referees and linesmen. I thought, that'd be a good idea, and then, you start going, well, it's a bit more complicated, especially in today's world and things like that, where things are changing and, in some ways not for the better. Trying to remember one show. I didn't watch much of it because it simply wasn't funny. I think I watched some clips of it on YouTube. Oh yeah, right. It was American Dad, and what's his name? The little nerd. Anyway, he joins an all-female. What's that game they play? Well, anyway, they're going around in a circle on rollerblades, right? And the women, like, none of those women would have any appeal for me. Like, it's like, no thank you, you're a bitch. The thing is, they can get territorial and scare off normal women, and then they turn around and call you a homo if you don't go with them, and it's like, what the fuck? You're a bitch. That's the reason I don't want to go with you. I don't like bitchy women who do bitchy things, and I don't care what their bitchy reason is. And it's like, as a whole, you could use that as a reason for going, no, you're not going to become referees or linesmen, you're not going to be on the ice, and not many of you are going to be commentators. You could use that as a reason. I mean, you shouldn't, but today's society shouldn't be like that. But again, I was talking about money and things like that, and how it brings out the worst in people. It's grotesque what people are really like when, you scratch the surface and see them for who they really are. So, we'll see what happens in the future in NHL, and hopefully things change for the better. Anyway, talk to people later. I see the light flashing on my camera, so it's running out of battery, so I will talk to you guys later.